Ladies and gentlemen, this is Erin Patterson, and she has been found guilty of unaliving several people. That's right, she ended the lives of some of her own family members in the most outrageous way. I'm sure you've heard all about this, ladies and gents, but there's just some details that don't make it on the news because they've got so many things to talk about in 1 hour and there's not much room. Yeah, this is about the mushroom lady that killed everyone. This is Erin Patterson, a 49-year-old, beautifully rotund woman from a small town called Lenatharaga in rural Victoria. Now, I don't know if you know much about rural Victoria, but there is nothing to do there, okay? It is boring. Everyone just drinks and does drugs, and this is probably why she decided to fill her time with picking wild mushrooms and ending the lives of people. And it's not alleged anymore. She's been found guilty, which is fantastic. It means we can say whatever we want. Patterson was the estranged daughter-in-law of these two, Don and Gail Patterson. They were the parents of Erin's former husband who broke up for, I know a lot of people break up for a lot of different reasons, but if someone's willing to cook wild mushrooms and kill your parents, then, you know, there's probably some other issues going on. Maybe she leaves the toilet seat up. I don't know. Something very heinous, obviously. Her ex-husband's name was Simon. That's the father of her children. And Don and Gail, the grandparents of her kids. So these are people very much involved in her life to this day. So these are people who are very much involved in her life, and yet she decided that they had to go. I know that's insensitive, but I'm a comedian. Deal with it. By all reports, apparently Erin Patterson remained in contact with all of these people, even though they got divorced, Simon and Erin, back in 2020. But it all came to a disastrous end in mid-2023, where Erin, through a gesture of goodwill, invited a whole group of people over to her house to enjoy a delicious beef Wellington lunch. A delicious lunch full of nutritious meat and bits of pastry and deadly mushrooms. That all happened on the 29th of July. She hosted the meal at her home in Lenatharaga, where she served the beef Wellington to Don and Gail's sister, who was also there, and Gail's sister's husband, who was also there. But how's this? And in an incredible stroke of luck, Simon wasn't able to make the lunch, did not attend, and thus didn't die from dirty little mushies. Unbeknownst to the guests at this beautiful little shindig, beautiful big bad Erin had cooked a beef Wellington containing these wild mushrooms that are lethal, that kill people, kill animals, kill people. They were later identified as death cap mushrooms, Amanita phallodensis. Ooh. It's definitely not how you pronounce it. And that was mixed in with ordinary mushrooms inside the beef Wellington. Now, let me just say this. I'm not a big fan of mushrooms. Not a lover. I bit of garlic, bit of butter, bit of mushrooms. It tastes okay, but it's hardly worth it. It's a fucking fungus. Leave it where it grows, okay? If it grows out of the ground when it's too fucking soggy and moist, fucking leave it there. Okay, I need to interrupt because I've just been sent this. This is absolutely insane. This is actual vlog footage of Erin Patterson searching for these wild, toxic mushrooms.
What's up, guys? Welcome to my cooking series. Today we're making beef Wellington, but first we need to find some special mushrooms. This looks like it might be what I'm looking for. The in-laws are going to love this. Oh shit, they are onto me.
Oh no, the police are here now. The cardio's not great. AI is incredible. I fucking love it. The gathering initially seemed lovely and just charming and wonderful, and what a delicious beef Wellington it would be. And I'm sure they exchanged pleasantries and jokes and talked about current events. But soon after the lunch, things turned sour. Everyone fell ill. All four guests, they felt very, very violently ill. They all felt extremely sick with what doctors thought at the time, because they all went to hospital, was severe gastroenteritis. Now, gastro, if you don't know, is where you explode from the mouth and I'll use the polite term, the anus. Yes, it's awful. I had it once when I was about to do a show in regional Victoria as well, in Bendigo. How close is Bendigo to this joint? Maybe she got me with the mushies before I went to Bendigo, but yeah, it was fucking awful. So they were very, very sick in hospital, spewing out of both ends. Awful. And by the end of the week, 3 of the diners were dead. Don Patterson died, his wife Gail Patterson and Gail's sister Heather all succumbed to the great mystery of the poisonous beef Wellington. Now, I know I've made some quiffs and some jokes and tried to stir a little bit of humour into this fungus story, but it is very sad that these people died. Obviously, they've got family members, and if you are those family members, I hope you're doing okay. I know it's been a few years now, but grief, it never really goes. So I know I'm normally like a happy-go fun guy, but today, not so much. Ian Wilkinson survived, though. He was 68 years old at that time, and he was clinging to life. He spent nearly 2 months in the hospital in a critical condition and required emergency liver transplant to pull through. Wow. So that's how toxic this thing is. It destroyed his liver, the part of the body that is filtering all this shit out. So the victims who did pass away, they had agonizingly and progressively worsening symptoms. And this is all consistent with acute toxicity in relation to mushrooms. They all suffered intense vomiting and diarrhea and signs of liver failure soon after the lunch. Doctors that were treating these patients noted that the pattern of illness, a brief improvement followed by a sudden organ collapse, aligned with death cap mushroom poisoning, one of the deadliest toxins known. That is insane. It really makes you think, particularly in Australia, like you see mushrooms growing out of the ground all the time, and you hope that your dog doesn't fucking eat them or your kids don't pick them up. But Erin must have known which mushrooms to use. Surely. You don't just pick a random mushroom. Did she eat any of the beef Wellington, by the way? Like, if I sat down with my son's ex-wife and we were all eating beef Wellington, like beef Wellington looks delicious, all right? Never had it. Big fan. Anyway, and she wasn't eating it? Wouldn't you think to yourself, oh, what the fuck's going on here, babe? Why are you not chowing down on this big chode of beef Wellington? What do you got in there? What are you hiding? It's a classic poisoning story. It's like the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones, except instead of everybody getting stabbed, they slowly shit themselves to death. After these people passed away, the police's immediate suspicion was on Erin Patterson. Now, one of the reasons that Erin Patterson was the focus was because she actually turned up at hospital and then she checked herself out. And then the doctor there was like, what the fuck? Why are you checking yourself? This is sus. You're saying everyone else is sick but and they're dying, but you're going to check yourself out? So he actually rang the police and reported this, which we didn't find out until just recently. As police investigated, they found a little clue that really pointed the finger at Erin Patterson. And that was a food dehydrator, something you might use to make beef jerky or perhaps even toxic shriveled mushrooms. They found this at the local rubbish tip and they decided to do some tests on it. The tests include fingerprinting, it included analysis of what was actually inside the dehydrator, and inside they found residue which matched exactly the type of mushrooms that were used in the beef Wellington, and they also found Erin's fingerprints. This was like finding a gun that had been used in a murder with fingerprints all over it. It's the exact same thing. This was the vessel that cooked up these toxic mushrooms to kill these people. And it had Erin Patterson written all over it. It would later be revealed that she threw this away when everyone started accusing her. In fact, there was CCTV footage of her throwing out the food dehydrator at the tip. Yeah. Not guilty at all. Everyone's eyes were on Erin at this point, and this is where she decided, probably under legal advice, to strongly deny any wrongdoing, and she did this via a written statement. She insisted that she had absolutely no reason to hurt her loved ones and was devastated by what happened. She claimed that the lunch's ingredients were innocuous, and according to Erin, she used button mushrooms from a local supermarket and a package of dried mushrooms from an Asian grocery. Don't know why they're race matters, you racist, Erin. And those dried mushrooms, she actually says she had them for months and she decided to just use them up in the beef Wellington. And she also goes on to say that she ate some of the beef Wellington and became very ill afterwards. She said she had a lot of diarrhea, which is just disgusting. Erin, please don't talk about diarrhea on this channel. Ew. So she was trying to play it off that she had no motive. She wasn't trying to poison anyone. It was just an accident and something has happened here horrible, and it's an awful experience for everybody involved. But we now know that that's not the case at all. Not even slightly. The police then arrest Erin on the 2nd of November in 2023. Homicide detectives charge her with 3 counts of murder and 5 counts of attempted murder. And those other charges, those other attempted murder charges, were actually relating to alleged, I don't know if she's been charged with this or not, but trying to murder her ex-husband 2 other times prior to this. This lady's fucking crazy. And apparently the prosecutors said that this was all to do with poisoning. She tried it in 2021, 2022, all after they got divorced. Probably Simon wasn't given that good dick anymore and she decided to take him out. And in fact, one of these times where she tried to take the life of Simon, he ended up in intensive care because of a mystery illness. So it would seem that this lunch that Simon was supposed to be at would in fact be the final laugh for Erin as she took the entire family out in one full swoop. She was ready to end all of these people's lives and she was going to do it via poisonous mushrooms. This is just such an insane story. So Erin's arrested, she doesn't apply for bail and she is locked up for the next 2 years. Through that time, prosecutors, they find all this evidence, they find out all these interesting things about what she's been up to. They look through her phones, they look through her laptops and computers and all that type of stuff to acquire evidence as to work out whether or not this is something that was premeditated, planned, and worked out by Erin over time. Her trial began only a few weeks ago and continued for 10 weeks. Over this time, prosecutors, they showed some pretty fantastic evidence. They, of course, showed the food dehydrator and Erin dumping that food dehydrator and it having all of these all this residue of the toxic mushrooms. They also found out that Erin did not eat the exact same meal as her guests. In fact, she prepared a non-poisonous meal for her. There was also this story about her coming up with a false cancer diagnosis, ovarian cancer, in the lead up to this, and she was so sick, and that's why her kids weren't there at the meal, because she was too sick to visit. This lady had done so much work just to off these people. It is crazy. And of course, in her defense, they argued that it was just a terrible accident, that she had no knowledge. But no one believed her at all. The fact of the matter is this: she found a way to end the lives of people via mushrooms, and she did it. She planned it. She kept her kids away with this false cancer diagnosis. She cooked it up. She put it in there. She threw the evidence away. This, I know it's sort of funny to look at this lady because she's chubby and all that type of stuff, and she, like, when she was arrested, she was acting like nothing had happened. But this is a vicious, horrible person, and she took the lives of just innocent people who were living their existence, not harming anyone. And from all reports, all of these people that died, they were lovely people. And that's what's so crazy about this entire thing, is that even though it is kind of jovial and funny because it's mushrooms and shit, but these are real people's lives that were ended. On the 7th of July, just last week, Erin Patterson was found guilty on all charges. 3 counts of murder for the deaths of Don, Gal, and Heather, and 1 count of attempted murder for poisoning Ian Wilkinson. Okay, so she wasn't charged for attempted murder on her husband or ex-husband. Erin Patterson will be sentenced in a matter of months, but it does beg the question, is this the craziest way that people have covertly murdered people? I want to know in the comment section down below, do you have a better story than this? Because I think this story captured the world's attention. I think it was somewhat like funny, and it was somewhat shocking, and yeah, I think that combination of shit that's just like, wow, this person has gone to some crazy lengths, like going out into the bush and just collecting poisonous mushrooms and then cooking it into lunch and killing 3 people and almost killing 4 and then trying to kill her husband allegedly other times. Like, you would think to yourself, hang on a second, this is a hectic story. And I feel like if it was any other type of poisoning, or a dude did this or something, like, it would be treated much more seriously. But because it's this fat lady that looks like a librarian, or she looks like she works at the corner shop selling lollies to kids, like, no one really takes it as seriously as we probably should. But yeah, fuck Erin Patterson, that fucking mushroom lady. What a shiitake attitude that fucking chick has. I heard she loves going to the zoo. Her favorite animal is lions mainly. Does that work? I don't know. I don't have any good mushroom puns. Also, let me know your mushroom puns. Ladies and gentlemen, be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. Big stings. Toodaloo. Bye-bye.